Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and happy Friday. Welcome to the Daily Herold here on Badlands Media. I am your host, John Herold. What a weird news 24 hours. Last night, I don't know if you guys caught it, by the way. We did our fantasy football draft. That was a shit show, but it was a fun time. I'm definitely probably going to win that league, but we'll see. Things happen, injuries happen. But no, the draft was a good time. Probably not Badlands at its finest, but we had 11 people in and out of the stream, 12 at one point because JB kind of showed up and then he left because he couldn't get his computer to work. But yeah, it was a good time. I just saw somebody say something. Nikki, drive by hello from Bemidji, Minnesota. Going to be in Minnesota. Badlanders meetup coming up here next Sunday. I posted about it on my Twitter account finally. Let me see if I can find it and share it here quick. Yeah, there we go. Badlanders meetup, 9/7/25, Sunday, noon. CanCon will be there. I'll be there. And I think Josh Reed might show up as well. Make sure you RSVP to Quinny's Sports Pub at gmail.com. That's QUINNYS Sports Pub at gmail.com. Those meetups are always fun. But yeah, let's get a quick word from our sponsor. We're going to start buzzing through the headlines here. And we got Goldco as one of today's sponsors. Is your wealth ready for Trump's next wave? Gold loves a Trump headline, and it is soaring. From the day he first took office, gold prices have climbed, gaining nearly $400 per ounce since his second term began. Why? Because gold thrives in uncertainty. It's a time-tested safe haven, immune to government meddling, a shield against inflation, and a proven way to protect your wealth when markets wobble. With Trump's second term heating up, will gold smash new records in 2025? Nobody knows how high it could go, but smart investors aren't waiting to find out. Take control today. You could even qualify for up to 10% in bonus free silver. Discover an IRS-approved way to diversify your savings with gold and silver, tax and penalty-free. Get your free gold and silver kit delivered straight to your door and learn how to safeguard your future. Visit badlandsgold.com to claim your kit and start building a stronger portfolio today. It's badlandsgold.com. Do not miss out. Don't quote me on this. I believe this is one of those things where you can like actually take your traditional investments like 401k and whatnot in stocks and roll it over into gold and silver, physical gold and silver. So if you have questions, give them a look, guys. They do good work. And I was going to look up one article because I thought I saw something about gold just today, but I can't remember. It was something about gold being higher than something for the first time in 30 years. Or more people bought gold than treasuries or something. Maybe that was it. Let's see if I can find that. So hold for processing. Otherwise, I'm probably going insane here. Gold and treasuries. Yeah, this is it. Foreign central banks now officially hold more gold than U.S. treasuries for the first time since 1996. Let that sink in. And this is from Octavio Costa. If you think this buying streak is ending, just look at what happened in the 1970s. This is likely the beginning of one of the most significant global rebalancings we've ever experienced in recent history, in my view. That's interesting, notable. Joe Lang writing about silver. Yeah, silver's a good one too. I did see Ashley D. It's your son's birthday, it sounds like. Did I see that right? If you all have time, can you wish my son Nash a happy birthday on my X account? His name is Nash and he's turning 10. I don't know what your X account is, but I'll wish him a happy birthday right here. We got no update on the Doge website. A few things on the presidential website. It's Labor Day coming up this Monday and Overdose Prevention Week, but there's also these three other things. We're going to walk through them real quick. Fact sheet number 1. President Donald Trump directs administration to make federal architecture beautiful again. I feel like he already did this. Like he just did an order like this, like what, 2 weeks ago or something? I'm pretty sure. Let me see if I can find it. I mean, kind of, I guess. Improving our nation through better design. Kind of the same thing as make federal architecture beautiful again. But anyway, the order ensures that applicable federal public buildings are constructed in a style that uplifts and beautifies public spaces, ennobles our nation, and commands respect from the general public. Whereas all federal public buildings should be visually identifiable as civic buildings and respect regional architectural heritage. I just think it's interesting. Like, it's beauty is subjective. I mean, for the most part, and I'm just curious to see what they do with this. Like, if they need to go and revamp the faces of like all these federal buildings to make them look unison and old fashioned or shit. I don't know. But anyway, we got this one. President Donald Trump exempts agencies with national security missions from federal collective bargaining requirements. I think this is a pretty biggie. Energy security is a critical national security mission. The Bureau of Reclamation operates 53 hydropower plants that generate enough electricity to power 3.8 million homes. These hydropower plants provide critical black start capacity, the ability to resume operations without requiring external power. This is important for restarting the electric grid in case of major outage. What else is there here? Hold on. This whole thing is about to end collective bargaining with federal unions in the following agencies. Gotcha. So no more unions in these agencies: the hydropower facilities, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, National Environment Satellite Data and Information Service, and the National Weather Service, the Office of Commissioner of Patents, Patent and Trademark Office, and the U.S. Agency for Global Media. Certain procedural requirements in federal labor management relations can create delays in agency operations. These delays can impact the ability of agencies with national security responsibilities to implement policies swiftly and fulfill their critical missions. Collective bargaining agreements remain in effect until their expiration, limiting agencies' ability to modify policies promptly. Even when changes are permissible under CBAs, agencies must complete midterm union bargaining, which can delay the implementation of time-sensitive national security measures. President Trump is taking action to ensure that agencies vital to national security can execute their missions without delay and protect the American people. And then we got this one. Trump prevents improper use of federal grants for political lobbying. This is a slam dunk right here. Slam dunk. He signed a memo to increase the integrity of federal grant making by preventing its diversion to political lobbying activities. I would love it if he would sign an executive order just to ban lobbying altogether and ban grants altogether as well. F those things. But anyway, the memo directs the Attorney General to investigate whether federal grant funds are being illegally used to support lobbying activities and to take appropriate enforcement action. Further directs the Attorney General to report to the President within 180 days on the progress of her investigation. It's just trying to safeguard tax dollars. Nikki0702 says, I'd love to go, John, but it's supposed to be 80 and doing a boat day. We don't have much warm weather left. That's true. That is true. Remus Bright says, excuse me, BB picked horribly on fantasy football. I'm annoyed. Yeah, I would be annoyed too. So, Tommy's Russell said, I heard BB is still bitching about Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, he was on one last night. I did send there's a guy in the chat who was like kind of reviewing our drafts, and I think he said BB is going to finish last or second to last. Yeah, he ranked him in order. And again, who knows how things are going to play out. But according to him, the draft rankings are Ash took last, BB second to last, Cam third to last, Chris, JB, CanCon, Sather, Jatriot, me, Alpha, Brad, Ghost. Ghost did have the first pick, and the first pick, whoever has the first pick never wins. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Bravis says, ban grants, ban lobbying. Stop giving my money to bad guys. Monica Red, hi John, first time commenting in the chat. Love all you guys. Welcome. Glad you could make it. Good to see you here. Don't be shy, you lurkers. It's okay to pop in the chat. This is kind of a biggie here. We've been talking about I think it was just yesterday, I was talking about the Empowerment and Control Act. Well, we got this last night. Trump scraps $5 billion in foreign aid in rare pocket rescission. This is part of the Empowerment Control Act, guys. President Trump is moving to cancel nearly $5 billion in congressionally approved foreign aid and peacekeeping spending in a rare pocket rescission. The Post has learned, making use of a legally debated maneuver that hasn't been done in 48 years. Trump on Thursday night notified Congress of his request to cancel the funds, which have been tied up in a court case until earlier in the day. Pocket rescission is a request that's presented to Congress so late in the fiscal year, which ends September 30th, that it takes effect regardless of whether Congress approves. This is what I was trying to think of yesterday. The pocket rescission. I said the Impoundment Control Act, and this is a part of that, but I knew there was something that existed where if you did it close enough to the end of the fiscal year, it doesn't matter whether Congress acts on it. It like goes into effect. This is what I was talking about, the pocket rescission. Clawback includes $3.2 billion in United States Agency for International Development funding, $322 million from the USAID State Department Democracy Fund, $521 million in State Department contributions to international organizations, $393 million in State Department contributions to peacekeeping activities, $445 million in separately budgeted peacekeeping aid. The spending had been destined for a wide variety of nonprofits and foreign governments and was paused earlier this year by the White House Office of Management and Budget, Russ Vought. Keep that name in mind. It's going to come back up here in a minute. And then stuck in legal limbo due to an ensuing lawsuit filed by the Global Health Office. The D.C. Court of Appeals on Thursday lifted an injunction in that case, opening the door for Trump to proceed with the first attempted pocket rescission since 1977. The legality of pocket rescissions is a matter of intense debate, but there's little court precedent. The Legislative Government Accountability Office deems the practice illegal. Trump's OMB team, Russ Vought, says otherwise. The Impoundment Control Act of 1974 limits the president's ability to balk at spending appropriated funds and lays out the process for legislative rescissions, such as the package Trump signed last month, yanking $1 billion in federal funding from NPR and PBS and $8 billion from USAID. That law sets a 45-day clock for Congress to pass rescissions proposed by the president. OMB Director Russ Vought and General Counsel Mark Paoletta have pointed to instances where Presidents Gerald Ford and Jimmy Carter arguably made pocket rescissions in the 1970s. Carter sent several rescission proposals to Congress in July of 1977. Funds from two of those proposals lapsed on September 30th, 1977, in one case prior to the expiration of the 45-day ICA withholding period. In another case, 5 days after the withholding period, he wrote in a letter in 2018, GAO noted the lapse without objection. He pointed to a 1975 opinion authorizing the practice, asserting on X this month that the office changed its mind during Trump's first term due to Trump derangement syndrome. GAO is uniquely positioned to sue Trump or sue over Trump's pocket rescission, particularly after the just concluded D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals case involving the same funds ended with the conclusion that the Impoundment Control Act cannot be enforced by private litigants. So this is going to be interesting. I think it's going to work out where it's going to go to the Supreme Court. It's going to be challenged, all these things. But I think Trump's going to get away with this. And the closer we get to September 30th, now that we're within that 45-day window, as I was kind of saying yesterday, I would love to see him just start going through all the bad things that were in that bloated bill that they had passed, the one big, beautiful bill. The one big, bloated, beautiful bill. Get rid of all the bloat. Get all of it out of there. Use the pocket rescissions to do it. Fight it in Supreme Court. That's fine, whatever. They're going to rule in Trump's favor on that. You can't force the president to spend money if it doesn't need to be spent. But I said, speaking of Russ Vought, you said, I have this. Yesterday, or maybe this was today. This was this morning. Secretary Rubio, I joked with POTUS that I had 4 jobs. He told me to give one to my friend Russ Vought, so I did. Since January, we've saved the taxpayers tens of billions of dollars. With a small set of core programs moved over to the State Department, USAID is officially in closeout mode. Russ is now at the helm to oversee the closeout of an agency that long ago went off the rails. Congrats, Russ. What do you guys think of that? Because I think that's great. I love Russ Vought. He is awesome. Nunyan941 says, Fantasy Football League is actually fake gay. 100%. But that's why we're doing it. It's fun. You guys should join. Spetzel has his own fantasy football league. There's a link here. I think that'd be fun to join, to have our league going and a fan league going at the same time. Yeah, Cece says we had a traumatizing morning with a mega wasp. I think I forgot everything too. Yeah, there was a wasp in the house this morning. I don't know how it got in. It was massive. It was basically like a pterodactyl. Oh, yeah. That's what I was supposed to forget or remember. Real Miss Bright just wanted me to remind you guys that Cocoa Beach tickets just dropped for ticket holders. If you were a ticket holder, whether that's in person or virtual, to our Deadwood GART, you check your email, you might have an email in there that gives you an opportunity to buy these Cocoa Beach tickets. We're going to put them on sale for the rest of the public on Monday. So get your tickets. We're working on getting some other special guests to that one, but probably not going to work out. They never do. Yeah, it was definitely a murder hornet. Prevost just bought his. Ty buying his. Man, you guys are on the ball. Love it. Did I forget anything else, Miss Bright? Let me check my messages here. I don't think so. Anyway. Clairecat367 says Russ Vought said vote is awesome. I'm going to call him Vought forever because I've always got it wrong. I'm just going to be consistent. Okay, Rimless Bright says that's it for now, so I'm good. Good to go. This is funny. Alexis Wilkins, who is Kash Patel's girlfriend, has sued Kyle Seraphin for defamation. She's asking for $5 million. The actual lawsuit here is pretty nuts. I'll read you a couple things. Defendant Kyle Seraphin has maliciously lied about Alexis Wilkins falsely asserting that she, an American-born country singer, is an agent of a foreign government assigned to manipulate and compromise the director of the FBI. Defendant, a former FBI special agent himself, who now makes a living as a podcaster and political commentator, profiting on controversy and outrage, is using this fabricated story as self-enriching clickbait and has spread it to his sizable audience that follows his daily broadcasts on X, Rumble, and YouTube. Accordingly, Ms. Wilkins seeks to hold defendant accountable for his malicious and knowing lies. The actual lies here are as follows. This is just one of them, I think. On August 22nd, defendant stated the following on the Kyle Seraphin show, and I quote, FBI Director Kash Patel has had his own little honeypot issue that's been going on of late, so we're just going to acknowledge it real publicly. He's got a girlfriend that is half his age, who is apparently both a country singer, a political commentator on Rumble, a friend of John Rich through Bongino, who also now owns a big chunk of Rumble, and she's also a former Mossad agent in what is like the equivalent of their NSA. But I'm sure that's totally because like she's really looking for like a cross-eyed, kind of thickish built, super cool bro who's almost 50 years old, who's Indian in America. Like it has nothing to do with the fact that we're really close to the Trump administration. Anyway, I'm sure that's totally just like love. That's what real love looks like. And they go through here. Obviously, it doesn't list her by name, but he was clearly talking about her, the damage it caused, the emotional, whatever. Like that's not even that bad if you ask me, but I'm curious to follow this lawsuit. Because I have aspirations to sue a few people for defamation too, and I can prove a much better case than this one, especially like the malicious intent and the falsehoods and the lies and stuff. I'll be working on that, guys. That'll be coming in. We'll announce that in the coming months, maybe. We'll see. But yeah, this will be a fun one to watch. I don't really know anything about this Alexis Wilkins. I don't really know anything about Kyle Seraphin. I saw people on Twitter yesterday like, oh, you got to choose sides. I don't even know whose side to choose yet. I choose neither. I think this is hilarious. But yeah, people get big mouths online. They feel like they can just say whatever they want, lie for whatever reasons they want. And if you are going to do that, there should probably be ramifications. Like if you're going to lie on your platforms to try to damage the reputation or platforms of other people, and it can be proven that you're lying, you should get in trouble. So I guess I wouldn't say I'm not cheering for a side, because I guess I'm just cheering against people who do that, have that kind of behavior. There's a lot of degenerate liars, as Chris Paul would say, on social media, and hopefully they'll all get held accountable in due time. Some interesting narrative seeding going on from the mainstream media, and JD Vance kind of leaned into it a little bit. Let's take a listen to this.
You're a heartbeat away from the presidency, and your boss is one of the oldest people to ever be sworn into office. You're one of the youngest people to ever be second in line. Are you ready to assume the role of commander-in-chief, and why should Americans trust you to lead the country?
Well, I've gotten a lot of good on-the-job training over the last 200 days, but also say that the president is in incredibly good health. He's got incredible energy. And while most of the people who work around the president of the United States are younger than he is, I think that we find that he actually is the last person who goes to sleep. He's the last person making phone calls at night, and he's the first person who wakes up and the first person making phone calls in the morning. So, yes, things can always happen. Yes, terrible tragedies happen. But I feel very confident the president of the United States is in good shape, is going to serve out the remainder of his term and do great things for the American people. And if, God forbid, there's a terrible tragedy, I can't think of better on-the-job training than what I've gotten over the last 200 days.
You're a
Already talking about 2028. This has been a kind of in progress now for a couple weeks. And I just think it's interesting because, and I posted this on social media too, like anytime you present any form of criticism, not necessarily of Trump, but of the things that have happened this term, his administration, which I've said repeatedly, I separate Trump from his administration. Anytime you criticize anything, you get met with, oh, it's too soon. It's only been like a couple months. It's only been 5 months. It's only been 7 months. Like, you got to give him time to do it. And then yet the same people are like, okay, but Vance 2028, guys, or maybe sooner. God forbid, maybe sooner. Like, you see how those two things kind of contradict each other a little bit? Like, we got to give Trump time. And I understand, like, well, we need to have a successor. It's very, it's very important that we're ready to keep going and continue the fight and blah, 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 whatever. What if it's not Vance? Trump hasn't like talked necessarily about Vance. I mean, maybe he will later. I don't know. But I'm not like, I kind of have Chris Paul's line of thinking on this. I'm not very comfortable with his origin story and how close he is to the Palantir stuff. And we know Trump is one to draft off of anything and everything until it comes time for him to kind of divert the op and lead us a different direction. We don't know if he's doing that with Vance. I'm not sold on him yet. It's not that I couldn't be. Maybe he is all the things that they're presenting him to be, but it's also possible he's not. I'm not a fan of this rhetoric already, if even at all. Like, obviously, he's a heartbeat away from the president. That's his freaking job. Like, we all know that. Of course he's ready. Trump wouldn't have picked him if he didn't think he'd be whatever, the right guy to do it, right? But that's not going to happen. It's just interesting. Again, my main point with this is we can't criticize the Trump admin because it's too soon, but we can talk about after Trump. It's not right. And it's not all the same people, but a lot of the same people that I see on social media giving me that feedback about criticizing Trump or anything from the Trump administration. They're the same ones who are like, oh, I don't see anything wrong with this rhetoric. Nothing much on Trump's True Social today. Let me refresh this one more time just to be sure. Oh, Trump's economy is booming. Great tribute to the incredible Hulkster that you won't want to miss. Real American Freestyle. It's interesting. Wes Moore, professional leftist. Washington Times article. I guess I can check that out here. And then he does draw attention to, this was last night, carjacking in D.C. is down 87%. All of the categories of crime are likewise down massively since I got involved. D.C. will soon be a crime-free zone in only 14 days, far faster than scheduled. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Let's see what the chat says. Spetzel Scavino congratulated JD as the next POTUS. Probably Signal. Could be. Maybe not, though. Still too early to consider Vance. Robin Sue, I'm ignoring all talk of 28. I'll wait and see what this admin gets accomplished after 26 before I even think that far ahead. Bravest 28 is too far away. Miss Rise Tire John, we say Trump 2028 to shut down that bullshit. I love that, and I agree with that. We have fake elections. The idea of talking about electing anyone in 2028 is way more of a joke than Trump 2028. Totally agree with that. Rocky's girl, I'm not thinking about 28 at all yet. Singing Tiff, I'm in. We had to scramble real quick. Not easy when they're serving food 35,000 feet in the skies. You on a plane? Shire Eve says, or he might if there was to be another assassination attempt made on Trump. I got to imagine there won't be. But I mean, it's not for probably lack of wanting to or desire to. It's just I don't think they'll ever get an opportunity like that again now that he's back in there. Maybe not, though. Who knows? They were talking about 2028. He was referring to a premature, terrible tragedy. Yeah, that's another good point. It's another great point. That's the point, I would say. I'm just watching a video somebody set in the chat. Yeah, that guy is terrible. Somebody just sent me this video. You know what? I might save this for the outro. Yeah, I'll save that. I'll come back to it. Thank you for putting that in there. Okay, let's see what the Washington Times article is that Trump shared, talking about the Maryland governor. Wes Moore, professional leftist for the Maryland governor, donor cash beats voter safety. Talking about, yeah, not really too interesting to me. I'm going to keep going here. The Trump administration cancels $679 million for offshore wind projects. That's awesome. The Department of Transportation is pulling $679 million of funding for projects that support offshore wind development in the United States. It is the latest attack in President Donald Trump's campaign to halt wind power development in the U.S. The single biggest ticket item impacted is Humboldt Bay offshore wind in Northern California, about $427 million in federal support withdrawn. I love it. Let's get rid of all federal spending. I am totally on board with that. Trump has revoked Kamala Harris's Secret Service protection. President Trump revoked protection for Kamala Harris, ending an extension quietly granted by Joe Biden before he left office. Federal law provides 6 months of protection for former vice presidents, which expired for Harris on July 21st. But Biden had signed a confidential directive authorizing an additional year of coverage, according to people familiar with the arrangement. Trump canceled that order in a memorandum to the Department of Homeland Security dated Thursday. I want to know who actually signed this confidential directive. Was it the auto pen? And I mean, just solely based, like if this wasn't actually Joe Biden, you have an entire case right here about misuse of taxpayer dollars. You know how expensive it is to have Secret Service covering somebody for an additional year? And like beyond that, there's so many more crimes and so many tangents you can go off of him not actually being the one to sign that, but that's insane. You are hereby authorized to discontinue any security-related procedures previously authorized by executive memorandum beyond those required by law for the following individual effective September 1st, 2025. Former Vice President Kamala D. Harris, the letter states. With Secret Service coverage removed, she will lose not only a personal protective detail, but also access to federal threat intelligence and monitoring, which officials say includes analysis of in-person risks, digital communications, and social media activity. Her Los Angeles residence will also no longer be secured by federal agents. Her husband, Doug Emhoff, lost his own protective detail on July 21st under standard provisions for spouses of former vice presidents. Interesting, guys. We'll probably talk about this on the Power Hour tomorrow. Ashley D says, again, so much can happen in 4 years. It's silly to talk about who's going to be prez in 2028. Also, in my opinion, if we don't fix some major things, it won't matter who is prez. Kind of agree with that as well. That is not a point lost on me. RFK Jr. announces an investigation into potential role of medications in transgender shooters' violence. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced Thursday that his department is investigating whether drugs taken by transgender shooter Robin Westman during his transition may have contributed to his violent actions. Kennedy said the department is launching broader studies into the potential contribution of such drugs, noting another recent school shooter, Audrey Hale, was also transgender. It's kind of cool how they're like starting to point things out. It's the noticing. It's begun. He did not specify what medications, if any, Westman or Hale had taken. However, Kennedy highlighted concerns about selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs, commonly prescribed for depression. Some of the SSRI drugs and some other psychiatric drugs might be contributing to violence, he warned. Many of them have black box warnings that warn of suicidal ideation and homicidal ideation, so we can't exclude those as a culprit. And those are the kind of studies we are doing. Yeah, it's kind of crazy with the shooting thing. I still see people online calling it like fake, calling them all crisis actors, decoding things, saying we're watching a movie. Not only is my mom's like one of her best friends, like directly know somebody, first cousins with, like one of the victims. I have another connection now that I found out about it. One of my old coworkers that I used to, like when I was a fundraiser, we were in the office together for like 2 years. Her kid was my babysitter this summer, one of her kids. She's related to one of the victims. So I have 2 direct connections now. It's not fake. And the more I see that stuff, it's just the more ridiculous it makes everything else these people say. I don't get what they're doing. But anyway, we'll keep going here. Exclusive: Trump administration plans to send hundreds of Guatemalan children in government custody back to home country. Trump administration is moving to repatriate hundreds of Guatemalan children in government custody who arrived in the United States alone, according to multiple sources familiar with the planning, who described the scope of the effort as unprecedented. Got to ask, why is that unprecedented? Why have we not tried to get kids who come into the country without their family? They come in, like children arriving in the United States alone, and we've never given them back to their family in the country they came from. Like, why is this an unprecedented thing? Don't get it. It's the latest in a series of moves since President Trump returned to office focused on unaccompanied migrant children in the United States. In this case, plucking kids out of government custody where they're waiting to be released to a relative or guardian in the U.S. who can care for them while they make their case for protection, and sending them to Guatemala where they're expected to be reunited with their family. The administration has identified more than 600 children from Guatemala in the custody of the Health and Human Services Department, which is charged with their care until they can be released to potentially deport as part of a pilot program in coordination with Guatemalan government, according to 2 sources. These are some of those things, like our tax dollars go, and we're paying, like how much are we paying every month for the Health and Human Services Department to essentially babysit and then track down these kids' families and try to get them back home? Or like even before this, to try to get them to some relative or guardian or whatever here in the United States. And talk about the human trafficking risk involved here. I mean, that's certainly what's going on with a lot of these things. But this is what Trump's deportation effort and closing down the border, it's going to, like a byproduct of doing that is going to be a reduction in spending on stuff like this. When you stop illegal immigration and you have an actually secure border, you don't have to worry about paying the Health and Human Services Party to babysit and investigate families so that we can send these people back. Plus, not to mention like the travel costs and all the other costs that go with it. It's more of a long-term savings, but this is one of those byproducts that I think we won't feel the effects of it yet, but long-term we will. Internally, officials have called the removals repatriations and not deportations, sources told CNN, implying the children impacted are not being involuntarily removed. Advocates and former officials, however, expressed skepticism about children's understanding of their removal, particularly because many don't have attorneys. Well, why children they can understand their own, sex change, but they can't understand their own removal from our country that they're not supposed to be in. Is that how the left is thinking now? Is that where we're at? Generally, for example, kids in custody are not affirmatively offered the option to leave voluntarily, and those who request it must have it approved by an immigration judge. The left is so stupid. The U.S. is the highest consumer of porn. It's terrible. Make sure you guys follow us on Facebook, by the way, and Instagram, and all the other socials. Hoping one of these days we're gonna get unleashed on those platforms. They're gonna drop the censorship. It'd be awesome. Iowa Senator Joni Ernst won't seek re-election to 3rd term, sources tell CNN. Iowa Republican Joni Ernst has decided not to seek re-election to a 3rd term, to people familiar with the decision say, and is poised to make an announcement next week. Ernst has been wrestling with the decision for months, but began telling friends in recent days her retirement creates an open Senate seat in Iowa. I always find it interesting when people who have been elected via the fraudulent election system, because they all have been, when they just willingly step away. Like, it's not for lack of, is it the money too good for you? Is it the lobbying dollars too good for you? Is it the, what is it? Because there's no real valid excuse that they can justify, oh, well, I think it's time for me to retire. Look at how many people are in the Senate and Congress that are old as balls and they're going to die in their chair. these people don't retire unless there's something else going on. So I'm curious to find out what that is. We have a Trump tariff tracker on Politico that I think is kind of interesting. Oh, that's not even the actual article. Here it is. Are Trump's tariffs making money? Watch this chart. The U.S. has 147.7% more tariff revenue than this time last year. Reading this chart offers clues for the path ahead. So we're going to do that a little bit, but I want to see what else. See if you guys say anything in chat. Bay Theater Dave, the Q Drop 1450 says you're watching a scripted movie. The scare quotes matter. It's not literally scripted. That's not how some people are portraying it. I saw clips yesterday and the day before. They don't say the word scare when they're talking about it. Ernst got spanked when she tried holding out on the Hegseth confirmation. Yeah. The money may have been cut off. Maybe, hopefully. Quick reminder, the bunny says, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania meetup on September 6th includes Battlefield Tour. Check out the events page for details. You know what? I'm gonna show people the events page if you haven't seen it. We'll come back to this tariff thing. The Great American Restoration Tour tickets going on sale soon. But the Badlanders meetups, these are all out here. We have some coming up tomorrow. New Englanders tomorrow. Miss Bright, you should get you or Bernie Bright to go attend that thing, by the way. Looks like Indiana's having one tomorrow, and then Pennsylvania September 6th, Gettysburg, the Minnesota one, the Yins Badlanders meetup in Pittsburgh 14th, Illinois 21st, Ohio 24th. Look at all these meetups. You guys are awesome. If you haven't been to one of these guys, they're so good. Just so nice to like sit down and hang out with some like-minded individuals. I also know Jordan, I think, is doing a let me find that quick. For those in like the Idaho area, I think he's doing something out that way. Let me find his Twitter. And here we go. This is a 48-second video. I can share this real quick.
Yo, I'm here at the Old State Saloon in Eagle, Idaho, the most based bar you'll ever find. And these guys, because they're awesome, have agreed to hold a showing of Codex 9/11. This is Brad Zerbo's new documentary on September 11th, the best documentary you'll ever find on the subject. We premiered it on the Badlands Media Rumble channel early in the week, and it already has 500,000 views. So on September 8th at 6 p.m. here at the Old State in Eagle, Idaho, we're going to host a showing. It's free, no entrance fee. Got to buy your own beer, though. But I hope to see you there. I'll be there. And if we're lucky enough, we'll have Brad call in, answer some questions. But if you're in the Boise, Treasure Valley area, stop in again, September 8th, 6 p.m. I will leave a link in the description below for some of the event postings. Hope to see you there. Yo, I'm here at the Old State Saloon in Eagle, Idaho.
Stop. Okay, there we go. Also, one more thing here before I go back to the headlines. The Codex 9/11, there's a bunch of screenings going on. We have 3 of them so far. Go to badlandsmedia.tv/codex911, scroll down, and if you know a theater near you, you can also get it up here. And we're just asking you guys to kind of take the lead on getting that stuff set up, because we got enough to deal with on our end, and we appreciate the help. But yeah, very happy for Brad. Brad's potentially some exciting things in the works for him. We'll probably be announcing those in the near future. Are Trump's tariffs making money? Watch this chart. President Donald Trump's radical new tariff regime has generated a surge in revenue from importers that must pay higher duties. The United States has now generated 147.7% more revenue from them so far this year compared with last year. Insane. But is it enough to replace the income tax as the main source of funding for the federal government? As Trump administration officials have argued, Treasury Department data shows that will be a massive stretch. But here's the thing they leave out of this. I'm not even going to continue through the rest of this. The spending. If he can actually rein in spending, it is realistic. It really is. I don't know if he'll be able to do it, but I think we're going to see a real effort to. But if he can rein in spending and fix the spending problem, fix the corruption problem, fix the grant problem, the lobbying, all these other things, it is realistic that tariff revenue can replace our income tax. And maybe even better. Rep Walls, I should have covered this when we talked about the shooting just a little bit ago. Denied Catholic schools' request for small security budget despite $17 billion surplus. Isn't that insane? He reportedly denied Catholic schools' request for a small security budget despite having a $17 billion surplus and giving similar grants to public schools. This morning, I went to my kids' mass. I had my gun on me in church. But it was nice. They sent out an email. They're locking all the doors as they always do, like when mass starts and whatnot. And they had a police presence. And you see the police presence on the schools like every now and then, but it was like noticeable. Like they're doing it the rest of the year, not even going to mess around anymore. It was good to see. Made me feel a little better. But yeah, this tragedy is so unfortunate, and not surprised that Tim Walz did something stupid while having a budget surplus that later cost lives. And then I got this from FBI Director Kash Patel. All federal partners are now at almost 1,400 arrests under POTUS initiative to clean up Washington, D.C. Latest from FBI, August 28th, 29, 38 arrests involving FBI personnel, 3 gun recoveries, 8 drug seizures, 86 individuals arrested by federal partners total, lives being saved every single day. Love to see it. And then do I got anything else? I have that one video for the outro. I guess maybe not the outro. I'll just play this. The worst person you know is still a better human than this guy. Watch him here. Tennis player, I think that's a tennis player, gives the guy a hat and the kid a hat, and the guy just takes it. What a terrible person. Awful. Anyway, guys, yeah, I think that's all I got for you today. Unless there's anything specifically you want me to talk about. Let's see if there's anything new going on that I missed since I've been live. I do get a quick promo for Soft Disclosure. If you guys haven't yet tried Soft Disclosure, I would highly encourage you to do so. The lotion is awesome. Okay, and I've never been a lotion guy, so it's kind of funny that we started a lotion business in the first place. But it's a great way to support Badlands Media, which is the real reason we did it. But then what Cheryl and Willowin's Farm put together here is pretty awesome. I'm finding myself using the unscented lotion way more than any man should. Like I'm constantly like putting on my hands. My kids love it. The tallow bar is fantastic for all the tough spots. But then the surprising one to me was like the deodorant, the mint deodorant. I started using that now too. And damn, they did such a good job. They really did. It's different than like your standard normal everyday deodorant with all the other bullshit inside of it. You just feel cleaner and you smell good longer. I don't know. I would encourage you guys to give it a shot. Softdisclosure.com. Use code Badlands for $5 off and join the fight today. And we are, this is kind of a trial run when we started this. We are going to readjust our pricing coming up here after September 11th, I think is the date we're setting. It's not going to change much. We're just trying to like figure out our the profit margin and stuff so that we can continue to make more product and still provide enough like revenue to the rev share for Badlands. So we're playing around with number stuff. We're going to keep the pricing it is now. And I don't think any of the price will change except for maybe the lotion might go up like $5 just to be totally transparent. But yeah, so you can get it while it's cheaper right now. And I'd encourage you to do so. Support Badlands Media in the process. Any updates on the 600K Chinese students? I did see a story on that. Was that just the news maybe? Let me see if I can find that story. Hold on. 600K Chinese students. Hold for processing. Okay, this is what the White House put out according to Blaze on the Chinese statement thing. White House released a statement clarifying Trump's comments about visas for Chinese students. President Trump isn't proposing an increase in student visas for Chinese students. The 600K references 2 years worth of visas. It's simply a continuation of existing policy. Gotcha. But it is interesting the way he did it. It definitely drew a lot of attention to the issue, and people aren't happy with it. I'm not happy. I don't think it's an American first. I don't think it's a first principles type thing. Design Lady LA, yeah, I'm a lurker just saying hi. Good to see you. They did cover this on Daily today. Okay, that's good. Jess Coke, thumbs up and hello. Got hubby to watch Codex 911. I just offered to drive today and put it on Bluetooth and handed him my cell. That's great. Go. How well does that tallow hold up in this awful heat? Angel paste would separate in the mailbox. I'm not sure what to say about angel paste, but I have heard nothing regarding the tallow. I haven't heard any negative feedback whatsoever on any of that. So I think with that, Bay Theater Dave, now John can't stop slathering himself with lotion. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, with that, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I think Ghost is coming on after me, so I'll send you over to his show. Tonight, we got Only Lands. Should be a good time. We also got Maha News here at 4 p.m. Eastern, Why We Vote at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and Spellbreakers tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern before Only Lands. So make sure you guys check it out. And then I'll be back also tomorrow on the Power Hour with Chris Paul. As always, that's a good one. So, yeah, you guys have a great rest of your Friday, and I will see you later tonight.
0. Extra, extra, read all about it. 2, 3. Let's get started.
That's what she said.
Oh, that's real good.
Why they stopping me? Stopping me.